Hi and welcome to another episode of Engage by Uplift, a video series aimed at having real talk for real change when it comes to sexual assault. If you've watched any of our other videos, then you've heard us talk about how the laws in the US aren't exactly equipped to handle cases of sexual harassment or assault, and especially if it's online. Online harassment. The way that we interact online has changed so quickly in such a short amount of time, and the legal system has some catching up to do. Online harassment can include threats of sexual violence, spreading false rumors, posting private information, or technological violations like account hacking. Spreading someone's phone number, their home address, their social security number, or any other type of personal information is called doxing, and it's a serious safety concern. If you're interested in learning more about online harassment, we've got you covered. Make sure to watch some of our previous videos. Online harassment is unfortunately really common and can have tragic consequences. 15-year-old Amanda Todd committed suicide in 2012 after 2 years of intense online sexual harassment. Harassment against media critic Anita Sarkeesian has continued for years and includes a constant stream of rape and death threats, plus bomb threats at the venues where she was scheduled to speak at. Game developers Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn have also faced a constant stream of harassment, escalating to truly terrifying levels. In some cases, like if an individual is repeatedly engaging in threatening behavior, online harassment can then fall under the legal category of stalking, and then some legal action can be taken. In the US, a victim can take their case to civil court and sue their harassers through tort law. If the harassment of a survivor includes defamation, disclosure of private information, and infliction of emotional distress, a victim may be able to get some results. The problem is, filing a civil complaint can take a really long time and can be really expensive. It's really rare for these types of cases to be successful. Cyber harassment expert Danielle Keats-Citron says that there are only 3 or 4 cases in the US where victims have been able to get any positive results under tort law. Certain states like Massachusetts and California have specific laws that allow law enforcement to go after these internet creeps. California was one of the first states to put these laws into action in 1999. Even in locations where these laws do exist, it's not always possible to get results. In many cases, tiny language inconsistencies create problems. Additionally, some legal experts worry that any possible legislation preventing harassment could be too broadly interpreted as infringing on free speech rights. It's an ongoing process to strike a good balance. Revenge porn. The term revenge porn has been applied to a situation where someone intentionally spreads nude photos, usually an ex-partner, in order to embarrass that person. This can have really deep ramifications, ranging from emotional and psychological problems to making it really difficult for a victim to get a job. Weirdly, in the case of leaked nudes and revenge porn, victims have more success if they sue for copyright infringement. Sounds weird, right? It turns out that if you take a photo of yourself, you actually have ownership of that photo, and it can't be displayed anywhere else without your consent. But horrifyingly enough, in order to sue for infringement, some women have been required to send nude photos of themselves in order to validate that it's them. It's a ridiculously demeaning and roundabout way to fight revenge porn. Thanks to monumental efforts over the past few years, 26 states have specific laws set in order to address revenge porn. And additionally, federal legislation is in the works to criminalize revenge porn. The upcoming Intimate Privacy Protection Act hopes to provide victims with some relief. For this week's call to action, we'd like you to think of ways that communities can influence the criminal justice system. What is something that you could do right now to let the government and the police know that you'd like to see a change in how they handle harassment? And as always, share your answers on Twitter using the hashtag EngageUplift or in the comments down below. What can we do? In some cases, there's a good legal framework for a case to be prosecuted in court. However, there are very low reporting rates for crimes like cyber stalking and cyber harassment. This is a result of a societal stigma that we have against sexual violence and harassment. When people, especially women, feel ashamed about what's happening to them or feel like they're overreacting, it's less likely that they're going to report what's happening to them. But even when survivors do report, it's often the case that law enforcement has absolutely no training on this subject matter. For example, journalist Amanda Hess had been receiving some death threats from an anonymous Twitter handle and decided to call the police in order to get some type of response. And the cop responded with, "What is Twitter?" Law enforcement is severely uninformed about how online abuse works, regardless of whether laws exist to prosecute the crime. Factoring into this is the fact that officers have a bad track record of responding to stalking in general. In 2009, a survey showed that 19% of complaints resulted in absolutely no action from law enforcement. So to some extent, we're actually talking about an awareness issue. By continuing a public conversation about online harassment and increasing awareness, we can also increase the likelihood that victims will get support. More directly, increased public pressure for law enforcement to undergo training in cyber stalking and cyber harassment could also do a lot of good. Alright, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to answer our call to action using the hashtag #EngageUplift on Twitter or in the comments down below. And while you're at it, why not give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'm Kat Lazo of the Cat's Meow. Till next week. Bye!